The MAGA movement is made up of a bunch of religious psychos that are engaging in mass delusions. They are off their rockers from, of course, Kanks all the way down. And these MAGA influencers have so much hold over the MAGA movement because they keep them all rattled and they keep the delusions in place. And if you remember on the Jimmy Kimmel thing, the whole thing started with Brendan Carr going on Benny Johnson's podcast. And we're going to dive into Benny Johnson. So first, I want to play the clip of Benny Johnson's take on the whole Charlie Kirk funeral.
Sunday, but let's preach. Fight for Charlie. If you witnessed, if you watched online yesterday, or if you were physically there, who was physically there?
From 11 at night.
You were all part of history. You were part of Christendom history. The advancement of the kingdom, the single, arguably largest advancement of the kingdom of Christ, happened yesterday live, and we were all witness to it. We were all part of it.
Okay. While Benny is advancing the kingdom of Christ when cameras are in front of him, behind the scenes, he is a closeted homosexual that engages in gay stuff. And I don't have any issue if Benny Johnson wants to be gay and do gay stuff and get on Grindr. I don't give a shit because I'm for freedom and I'm a big ally. What I have a problem with is Benny being a total religious hypocrite that weaponizes his faith against other people because he hates himself so much and he doesn't have the courage to do the work to be who he is and embrace it. And there's no praying that you can do, Benny, that's going to pray the gay away. You can pass all the legislation you want. You can pass you can make this a Christian country. And Benny, you're still going to be trolling online for gay shit. And let me just show you what happened to Benny. We need to remind everybody of this. Benny posts the advertising on the Military Times right now, and it has an ad for the world's largest gay cruise. And this is the day that Benny learned about targeted advertising based off your Google search history. I have never been targeted for a gay or lesbian cruise because I don't watch gay and lesbian porn and don't Google for it. So, of course, like all MAGA people do, they own themselves online. And it's just unbelievable when you think about, and we talk about this a lot, when you think about the Grindr activity at the RNC, where everybody's wearing maxi pads on their ears, acting like nuts, talking in tongues, being total freaks. And then the Charlie Kirk Nazi rally masquerading as a funeral where Benny was up on stage saying, see all these cabinet members, God placed them all here. And meanwhile, I guarantee you, he's out eating ass later that night. I guarantee you he was. These are DL, Demon Queens pumps. They aren't. I don't care if Benny wants to eat ass. I don't give a shit. The hypocrisy bugs the shit out of me.
And I would just say, from my perspective, watching Charlie Kirk's funeral would make anyone have the super cringe, whether you're Christian, like that was cringy. And my question, Benny, if all these cabinet members are chosen by God, why is the United States going down in every category of prosperity? Does God not like the United States? Because right now we're going down the tubes and you're acting like we're not because you want to be you want to have power and you don't care who suffers.
But also, I think a lot of these MAGA men are DL demon queens. They are trying to fix themselves, something that they can't fix. They're trying to pray the gay away, legislate the gay away. And at the end of the day, he still wishes he was on the gay cruise. And I wish that for you, Benny. I want you to go on the gay cruise and be gay and not have to put the whole country through this shit because you're so emotionally stunted and you want to exploit the very people that, for in private, you want to exploit them for your own personal pleasure and then wake up in the day and go weaponize your faith against them. And then just brings me to the other character players in the MAGA movement. So you've got, in my opinion, they're all emotionally stunted. They're all broken. They all have inner child issues. There's a big segment of them that are closeted homosexuals slash bisexuals slash like to consume trans porn. And we've shown the data on that in previous episodes. And then you just have dipshits, just straight up, I'm going to wake up today and I'm going to be a moron. And of course, you all know Trump's sons, Dumb and Dumber. And I'd like to play this clip from Dumber.
What about your father on Mount Rushmore? I know patriots will want me to ask that because they love that idea, the Nobel Peace Prize notwithstanding. But Mount Rushmore, it just seems like after everything you all have been through, everything that he's endured, it just seems to follow.
He deserves it.
Yeah.
He deserves it. He deserves a Nobel Peace Prize so many times over. I've literally been in that office. I was in that office for one conversation where he literally stopped a war. In fact, I was in the office recently for another one where he stopped another one. I mean, the amount of
I think it's a tell when somebody's telling a story and they have to use literally multiple times. Just like when Trump, when Kanks is talking about, yeah, they called me and they said, sir, every time he says sir. Here's the deal. Your dad doesn't deserve a spot on Mount Rushmore. The fact that you're talking about it confirms my hypothesis that you have inner child issues and that your dad was a deadbeat, emotionally deadbeat father, and he still continues to be a narcissist, and you are suffering from the abuse of having a narcissistic father. And you can go on as many news cycles as you want to, Dumber. He's still not ever going to love you because he's incapable of it. On to the Nobel Peace Prize. He doesn't deserve a Nobel Peace Prize. He didn't solve 7 wars. He's a compulsive liar, a shitty dad, a narcissist, a horrible president. He deserves to be in prison, and not just a normal cell. The cell needs to be in the psych ward, in the insane asylum that your father likes to talk about so much. He needs a straitjacket and a padded cell. That's what needs to happen. And then, Dumber, you need to go to therapy.
Right.
You need to go get in touch with little Eric. You need to go fix all that shit, because this is not the way.
Well, and it's kind of, I mean, I have empathy for his kids because he is such an emotionally abusive person. You cannot fill him up. Like, I feel abused as a U.S. citizen. I kind of have empathy for those kids that he just was so horrible to.
I agree. But here's the thing. A lot of people have shitty parents, Pumps.
That's right.
A lot of people have to do the work to get past their emotional trauma, and these fuckers don't. So I have to stop at any empathy for Dumb and Dumber, because they are psychopaths. They have no empathy for any other people on the planet. And I agree, it wouldn't be a cakewalk to be raised by Kanks, but I know a lot of people that had really, really fucked up parents, and they are great people now because they did the work. And so that's why I encourage Dumb and Dumber to go to therapy and get to the bottom of all of the abuse that they had to endure being raised by him. Because one thing you just said that I relate to, it's mass abuse at this stage. But this brings me to another person that wakes up every day. And this is where we get into the crazy, stupid people. Let's play this clip from Nancy Mace.
All that's coming from the left. And we have to be honest and tell the truth. And I don't know if you guys have been on social media this morning, but you've got pregnant women recording videos of themselves taking Tylenol, which has now been linked to autism, and they hate Trump more than they love their babies. I mean, that to me.
Okay. So here's the problem with crazy, stupid people like her. I get it. I get that Nancy Mace is crazy plus stupid, and that's a really dangerous combination. I've known people that are crazy and stupid. You know people that are crazy and stupid. Fuck, Pumps and I, before we started therapy, you can read about it in our book. We used to be crazy and stupid. The problem is, nobody in MAGA makes anybody better.
Right.
They all make each other worse. They all get collectively worse. So there's people at home listening to this that are both crazy and stupid, that believe, oh my God, liberal women hate Trump more than they love their baby, which is insane, which is stupid, which is hyperbolic, which is crazy.
Well, and here's the thing. If Trump cared so much about babies and health, he would not have appointed RFK Jr. and Dr. Oz, who owns the company that now he says can cure autism who's making a fuck ton of money. This man does not give a fuck about life, i.e., alligator Alcatraz. And Nancy Mace needs to sit down and shut the fuck up because she takes women back every time she opens her mouth, in my opinion.
All right, let's take a quick break from the news and hear from our sponsor. Listener, if you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees. No BS. Here's why I said yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for $15 a month. I decided to ditch overpriced wireless and their jaw-dropping monthly bills, unexpected overage, and most of all, those hidden fees. With Mint Mobile, their plans start at just $15 a month. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts. I started using Mint Mobile, Pump started using Mint Mobile, and you guys should too. You'll save a lot of money. Listener, ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch at mintmobile.com/news. That's mintmobile.com/news. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. And lastly, when I'm not a podcaster, I'm an interior designer, and I just always want to report on the poor design choices that are happening at the People's House, which is now turned into Donald Trump's personal coloring book. And now I want to play some video of the colonnade where he has interestingly framed a lot of pictures. This is an outdoor space. He's framed all the presidents, and then he starts stair-stepping them up because he wants to be the highest. And then we get to President Biden, and he's put an auto pen because he's a petty, immature, unprofessional psycho that needs to go to prison. And then his mugshot at the end of that. And a few things here. Number one, you would never hang art like this outside or portraits like this outside. It's just a bad design choice, much like all the arbitrary, molding, gold leaf moldings that appliques he's put all over. It's at some point, there's just like an arbitrary one there. And then this is just the continuing thing. But the reason why I bring this up, Pumps, my belief is that Stephen Miller and others keep him occupied with these projects. Coloring books. The Oval Office is a coloring book. The ballroom is a coloring book. This debauchery on the side of the colonnade is a coloring book for him because they are doing the real fuckery and the real damage to the Constitution and eroding civil liberties. And I know this to be true because remember, Charlie Kirk was supposed to be like a second son.
Mhm.
He actually has a second one, which is dumber, that I quoted earlier. When asked about how are you holding up, really good. Did you see my trucks are arriving to build my ballroom?
Right.
And so I think these types of things are what the real evil, smart, ambitious people are doing, letting him do so that behind the scenes, they can keep colluding with, I believe, SCOTUS, the Heritage Foundation, and Congress to completely reshape America to where we are completely isolated from the world, and we have this crazy Christian nationalist handmade tale country.
Completely agree. And I also think they're sitting around going, Joe Biden fucked you. You won the 2020 election. They're keeping up his lies. They're saying your poll ratings are 90%. People love you. They're feeding his ego. And then, their problem is he goes out to the UN and he fucking humiliates himself and he says all that crazy shit. And it's like they can hide him with his projects, but he loves to be in front of the camera. And every time he does that, it's just faceplant universe.
Oh yeah, especially there wasn't like mass applause at the UN. It was a very cold response. But imagine you see how these foot soldiers for Trump, the beta males, how they get on TV and how triggered they are about things. Imagine if, let's say, hypothetically, we have in 2028, we have a President Pritzker or President Newsom or somebody else, and they put a picture of Trump with the mugshot and put convicted felon and framed it and put it in the Oval Office. Can you imagine the mass meltdown of these DL demon queens whose whole identity of masculinity is him? And then all of a sudden they would shift gears because they have no conviction. And then they would start talking about decorum and the office of the president. This is beneath the office of the presidency. If some Democrat did that auto pin bullshit, we would never fucking hear the end of their whining. All right, that's all we have for this episode. We'll be back later with more news. Support us by buying our book. The link is right below in the show notes.